And I've seen that there is a lot of absence of moral principles. The rate at which people are looking for money, they are looking for position, they are looking for things that are not even they have actually dropped their moral principles to look for the things of the world. Daddy, what do you understand by the word moral principles? Can you just enlighten us this morning, sir?
All right. Once again, thank you very much for inviting me to be with you. Okay, so when we talk about moral principle, we are talking about the value systems that guide our decisions, that guide our behavior. Why will somebody decide to steal and another person feel that, no, I can't steal? Why will someone decide that I can go out on election day and burn ballot boxes, and another person feels that this is not the right thing to do? Why will somebody feels that I can sell my body online to the highest bidder, and another person feels that, no, this is an insane thing to do? So these are the value systems that are responsible for our behavior, for our character, for our decisions, for our attitude. That, in a nutshell, is my understanding of moral principles.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you, sir. I really appreciate. Now, we have seen quite a number of youths that have lost their moral principles. Hello, sir. Can you hear me?
Can you please
Hello,
come
sir.
again?
I said we have seen quite a number of youths that have lost their moral principles out there. Now, can we say, is it the parents that failed, or is it the society that failed them?
Well, it's not something you can lay at the doorstep of one person, but there are usually 3 or 4 culprits to situations like this. One is the parent, fundamentally. Number 2 is the society. Number 3, the church. And number 4, the person. Now, let me break it down. The first responsibility of raising a child falls to the parents. Every child that you see today, there is an armed robber, there is an hired assassin, there is a prostitute, was once an innocent baby in the hand of a parent. You may want to ask, what exactly was the input of the parent in the life of that child? How did that child grow up such that that child end up becoming an hired assassin, an armed robber? You see, if you look at parenting, for example, I have noticed that it's very rare for you to find a child that was sent to school, properly raised, properly financed, and then that child one day will carry gun and stand on the road to kill or to rob people. It's very rare to find somebody who had gone through that kind of system ending up on the road like that. It's very, very rare. By the time you check everybody who is being arrested for armed robbery, it's very noticeable that parental training at a point is completely missing. You see, when you put granite on a child, on a 6-7-year-old child, and you allow that child to roam the whole town, that child is going to meet people that you don't have control over. That child is going to face a lot of influence. In other words, most parents have failed not training their children because the first responsibility lies on them. What parents do, and I'm not talking of money. In fact, even parents who are well-to-do, the best they do is that they send their kids to school. There's a difference between training your child and sending your child to school. So they pay school fees, they do assignment, you know, those are the things that they are concerned with. But you see, when you look at life, the things that really matter in life are not those things that their teachers are teaching them in schools. You will never hear somebody that, a lady that is driven out of her marriage because she does not know factorization, or because she cannot find X, or because she does not know the definition of sociology. Nobody is sent out of their marriage on account of that. People have issues on account of basic philosophy of life that they have missed, either in their character, in their behavior, in their value system. And this requires parents to impute it right from when they were a child. The best time to train a child, in my opinion, is between 0 to 9. Because every decade of a child is going to be an harvest in the next decade. I can predict how a child will be when that child turns 10 years old by looking at what you have done to that child between the age of 0 to 9. Because each decade tells you what will happen later. So there is great shortcomings on behalf of many parents. In fact, many parents themselves are not equipped to train their children. They themselves don't know what it means to train a child. So there is a lot of gap. There is a lot of space that other strange people come to fill all of those things up. Because of time, I'll just shorten it and leave it at that. Now, I also mentioned society. You know, if you pick who doesn't like to stay on the queue, who does things disorderly, and you take that same Nigeria to UK, suddenly it becomes orderly. You see, that's society. If society has a correct mold, people will fall into the mold in that society. Our society does not have a correct mold. So the tendency is that most people do not conform to it. We have a society, for example, where there is no penalty for stealing. You know, all these politicians, how do they tell their children not to steal? How do they train their children not to steal when the child knows that daddy is stealing, that the money daddy has is not sufficient, is not from his salary? So how do you tell a child not to steal? Now, so our society has embraced wrong values. We have embraced tribalism. Unfortunately, even in the church, the average person is very tribal. This election has even revealed it more. That's what our society embraces. If you look at other society, it doesn't mean they don't have their own uniqueness, but they have, to some extent, outgrown some of these things so that they can embrace people that are different from them. So we have a society now that the society in itself does not provide structure that helps to shape people's moral values. Then, of course, you come to the church. Because I'm a Christian, I'm a child of God, so there's no way I can rule this out. If what you hear in church all the time is about how to make it, how your enemies will die, I do not see how much you are going to, I don't see what that person is going to turn out, because basically, if the whole church is about money, the society is about money, now you are blaming people. Somebody is promising a child who has not eaten for days that if you can carry this ballot box and destroy it, we are going to give you 250,000. And you are telling that person not to do it. And it's not that you are going to help that person. You have no social security. Many of those people, you look down on them in the society every day. You don't care about them. We don't have NGOs that takes care of them. And then somebody suddenly come with 250,000 and say, all you need to do is just to carry this ballot box, put fire on it, and then the money is yours. That person will gladly go and do it.
Yes.
So if the church is focusing so much about money rather than living right, the church should have been the moral compass of the society by teaching people how to live above sin. But today, young people are comfortable in sin. You know, you can just wake up from sleeping with a boyfriend and still go to church and sing in the choir. You're not going to feel anything, because what are they going to tell you at the end of the day? How you are going to make it. Give money, you will get money back from God. Excuse me. Now, so the church also is responsible. Then, lastly, is that person himself. Because no matter the wrong your parent may have done, no matter the wrong that the society may have done and the church may have done to you, you are still ultimately responsible for what you do with your life. You can say to yourself that I want to live right. You can say to yourself that I want to do things differently. Growing up, for example, I grew up in an environment sometimes where I saw a lot of terrible marriages. Terrible marriages. But at a point, I said to myself that, see, I want my own marriage to be different. I closed my eyes from whatever was happening in my environment. And I said, Lord, I want to get my own marriage right. So we are ultimately responsible. A young person is ultimately responsible. You can say no to hooliganism. You can say no to sexual sin. You can say no to drug. Ultimately, you are the one that put that cocaine in your mouth. Nobody forced it in your mouth. So you have the grace, the ability to say no. So in a nutshell, the parent, the society, the church, and ultimately the person are the people that you can lay this blame at their doors. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, sir. Mata, you're welcome online. Thank you for joining us. God bless you. Now, still my next question, I just want to emphasize on something. Like lately, I see that, you know, some parents, most parents, they support their children in whatever they are doing. I have seen parents who support and contribute to, you know, I've seen youths of these days, they indulge in this fraudulent acts they call Yahoo Yahoo or Yahoo Plus. And I've seen parents who actually go extra mile for their children, you know, to be successful in that venture. You know, they take them to Alfas, they take them to Babalawo, they do rich for them. What can you say about this?
Well, like I said in my earlier submissions, that parents themselves, many parents are not even equipped to be parents in the first place. It's not just Yahoo. You know, the Bible said the love of money is the root of all evil. A lot of parents will support their children to do anything that will bring money. Let me give you an example, because I released the video just this morning. So let me share something from that video. There are apps that young women, they go on those apps to advertise their nudity. And then when you pay them, they take you to premium, or they make personal calls with you. And there is nothing you ask them to do that they don't do. And many people are recording this. And of course, it's usually men that are watching, that are paying for these services. Many of these videos are being recorded and are being posted on the internet. Now, but you see, there are parents have been rightly informed that, in fact, in some of the videos, those girls will sit down and they will be talking to their parents. And they'll be in front of a phone and the parent is there. Because the girl is now the one paying the house rent. The girl is the one buying food in the house. You see, for a lot of people, money is their God. See, whatever makes a man to compromise has become his God. When you have rated money to be so paramount and important that every other thing becomes secondary. So if a child is stealing, rather than confront a child that where do you get this money from, you will rather benefit from the proceeds, even as parents. Because the parent, ask yourself, the parent before becoming parent, what was the value that was imprinted upon that parent also? Nothing. And we live in a society where it's like money answereth all things. In fact, we are like that kind of a society where you can say money answereth all things. So they give value to this, to money. Therefore, they will support their children to whatever is bringing money. And you see, they can easily justify it. They tell you that the government doesn't do anything for them. They have house rent to pay. They have this. See, there are parents who encourage their children into prostitution. These are facts. And they know this is what the child is doing. And they are even praying for the child to continue to succeed. And they are spending the money that child is bringing. Some will even tell the child, what's your problem? This thing does not have a meter. It is not reading. Will you allow us to continue to suffer? Won't you use what you have to save this family from poverty? That is what happens when you have parenting that has magnified money above the fear of God, that has magnified money above doing what is right in the society. So the love of money is the root of all evil. It doesn't matter whether you are a parent or not. They will encourage their children to do things as long as money is coming out from it. They will encourage their children to do it. It's sad. It's not the right thing to do, because many times some of these children, they are in a vulnerable state that if the parent were parents who could guide them differently, they will probably be doing something differently. See, what we are discussing today is so important because the life of many young people are being destroyed. And once your youthful years is destroyed, your future is destroyed. There are 3 seasons to the life of a man: the childhood season, the youthful season, and the adulthood. You see, the youthful season is critical for 2 reasons. It is the season of preparation, and it is also the season of fulfillment. That's your best time to serve God, to serve your society, to be useful to God. If that is wasted, it's wasted. A lot of our young girls now have their nude videos all over the internet. Many of them don't even know. And these things will come tomorrow to come and haunt them. Those who say they are doing Yahoo and they are stealing, you see, these vices, they are progressive. In the course of doing that, somebody will suggest to you that you need to upgrade it. And in the process of upgrading, you may need blood. You may need, and let me tell you why they usually require them to have blood or something like that. The reason is this. You see, when people want to do rituals, they will tell you, can you kill somebody very close to you? Can you bring the blood of the pant of a woman or something like that? The reason is this. The principle behind rituals is that you must do something that is offensive to God. It is not Satan that is going to kill those people. Did you know that Satan doesn't kill anybody? He doesn't kill anybody. He only set you up for God to deal with you. So even in the days of Noah, when they were sinning, it was not Noah that dealt with them. It was not Satan that dealt with them. It was God. In Sodom and Gomorrah, Satan may have encouraged them into homosexuality, but it was God who also destroyed them. So it's God that deals with people. So the principle of sacrifice is that you must violate God. So the devil wants you to commit murder, because the scripture says thou shalt not murder. So once you commit that murder, you have violated God, and God has to ensure justice. So it is not the devil. People say a devil will now come and kill them. No, it's not the devil. The devil has to set you against God, and that's why they need blood, because the scripture says that in the life, in the blood of an animal is his life. So when they are using the blood of a lady to do ritual, they are basically using the life of that lady. They are killing her. That is what it means. That's the principle behind it. Now, you cannot do this and have a normal life. You know, I once saw a man. I went to a place where I was my polling booth, and I saw a man there. He was just behaving somehow, and I asked somebody, why is this man behaving like this? And the person told me, said he had been involved in killing people. and so he can't be normal again. He cannot be normal. He wasn't just behaving normal. I just knew something was wrong with this person. You know, so it's a serious issue that we are looking at, because when you destroy youth, you are truly, truly destroying future. It's not a cliche. It's reality. Some people make decisions when they were young. They've not been able to recover from it. Go and ask people who enter into wrong marriage. They will spend the rest of their years dealing with troubles in marriage. Decisions of the youthful years are very critical and very dangerous. That's why, as a parent, it is not a small responsibility that you have in your hand as a parent. It's a very grave responsibility. Teachers cannot perform that responsibility for you. In fact, if you know you do not have the time and the effort needed to raise a child, it's better not to bring that child into the world, because ultimately you are going to give account to God what you have done in the life of that child.
All right, thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Now, I want to divert a little bit. You know, I'm a teacher. I teach in a school, and I'm teaching in the third school right now, in the area where I live. And I noticed one particular thing. I don't know if it happens, because the school I graduated from, it is not done there. Now, I noticed one particular thing about all these schools, generally in this place, probably in this area, or I don't know now, or how's how they do it now. I noticed that when they are paying for WAEC, they also make payments for logistics. They make payments for logistics. It was later on I discovered that the logistics money is money for examination malpractice. And I've seen the rate at which, you know, students, they don't like to go to schools where they don't pay for logistics. You see, when they find out that if there is any school in their area where they are paying for logistics or where those things are being done, you see that a lot of students rush into those schools to register for WAEC there. I don't know, is it the school that, from that side, I can say that the school is also contributing to what we have, or what do you think, sir?
Is there anybody in Nigeria today that is really not contributing to the decadence? It is systemic. It is systemic, you know, and that tells you that there's no value from home. Okay, there's no value. As far as I can remember, in my days in the university, when we are writing exam, and God so good, this is online. Some of my colleagues whom we graduated together can bear me witness. When we are writing exam, I make sure I sit in front near the supervisor, completely detached from everybody. As in, I became known for that, because I will tell you that, see, once I enter this exam, there is nothing I will discuss with you. I can discuss things with you before the exam. Once I enter, now this is that was a personal decision. That's why I said, see, the school is responsible, and those, when you say the school, you are also talking of parents, because those people in charge of the school are parents themselves. And the children may not be their direct children, but they are as good as their children. If they can do it for other people's children, they will definitely do it for their own children. And then parents also, who have failed in their responsibility all the years, now suddenly they want their children to pass. I work in a university and I see some of these consequences. That's why we introduce post-UMT in the university, because we don't trust all these exams they are doing. If you score 300 in JAM and then you come and do our post-UMT and then you are scoring 20%, how did you score 300 then in JAM? You know, but you see, again, is a systemic failure from parents, from society, and then the child also, who may not at that stage, particularly if it is primary or secondary school level, they may not yet be fully mature to know the implications of what they are doing. Particularly these days, when you see a child graduating at 15 or 16, you know, they may not know the implications. So they need an adult. We also need the system to ensure that cheating is difficult. Let me give you a scenario. When I was serving, I was serving in Gombe State, and I was posted to supervise SSC. So the class I was supervising, as soon as they start, I just noticed that were bringing paper to write something, you know. So I eventually caught a lady and I'm like, stand up. Where's the paper? And she put it in her body. And you know, it's the knot. So I was very careful. I couldn't touch her or to search her. So I called the YX supervisor, the external supervisor who came. I was shocked. The external supervisor, almighty external supervisor, he came and he said, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? They just said start, and then you're already cheating. Why can't you even wait for 5-10 minutes before bringing something out? This is true life story. I was in the class. You know, when I saw that, I just said to myself, there is no point supervising this class. So I just went to down somewhere and let them do whatever they wanted to do. And people brought out textbooks, as in it was free for all. This was, as in it's a systemic thing. It's the school, the WAEC officials, everybody, they were all part of it. As in, they were allowed to cheat at a scale all my life I had never seen. In fact, if it was possible, if it was the days when they had Google phone and so on, I'm sure some people could even be printing their textbooks and they are attaching it to WAEC. As in, it was that bad. That's the kind of society that we are dealing with. So it's systemic. But thank God, you see, there are schools that are strongly against this. I went to a school that if you were caught cheating during WAEC, it's not WAEC that will deal with you. It's my school. My school ensured that we do not cheat. So before we enter the exam, the school will do a thorough search. Why they are searching you? They are not yet giving us question paper. Why they are searching us? If they find anything on you that you should not be on you, you are in big trouble. You see, so that in itself helped our behavior, and young people need that at that particular age to see the seriousness of this thing. But you know, in a society where people are sending fake documents to embassies, uploading fake documents here and there, money that you don't have in your bank account that you are claiming that you have in your bank account, and you are doing all of that as a parent. Is it that parent now that want to tell a child also not to cheat in school? You are going to do this passport. You were born in 1964. You put there 1974. You know, so it is at different levels. It is at different levels. Thank you.
And I just want to chip in something. For the logistics, as they paid us as teachers, they paid us ahead. So I didn't actually know. But something just told me, probably it was the Holy Spirit that told me that don't spend that money. So I kept it under the carpet in our house. And the day they were going to call me, I teach English. So that very morning, my dad just called me. He was like, I dreamt to do not partake in anything that will lead you to police case. I was very afraid. So when I was going to school, I told my husband, he told me that I should take the money along in case they ask me for the money. So when I got to school, truly, I was called. And I said, I'm not doing. I said, I'm not partaking. The owner of the school was angry with me. He was really angry with me. But I said, I'm not going to partake. The other English teacher too, I saw her, she was already writing. She had already written like 4 essays down for the students. I said, I'm not doing. And it really brought a kind of, I was demoralized. Because the way they handled me, the way they treated me, I didn't really like it. To the point that even the proprietor in the meeting said, I'm swagby, them with Jassy. I just laughed. Then that one aside, after a while, I was in a fellowship. It was so funny. I was in the fellowship and I tried to relate this to one of our pastors. And I was so surprised. If I was caught off guard with the reply I got. To show that people are so not concerned about the rate at which the youth of these days are going down the drain. And it's giving me a lot of concern. When I explained to the man said, Madam, if you don't teach those children, they will fail. And I looked at him. I was like, so why are there teachers? Why were they taught for 6 years? The man said, no, it's not about teaching them. If you don't teach them during the exam, they will fail. And it really gave me a lot of concern. it really gave me a lot of concern that even pastors, so-called pastors, that you see them when they are praying, they're actually involved. The person I'm talking about is one of the toughest teachers in Lagos State. He teaches in Lagos. And I was so surprised. In fact, that should be you understand Yoruba. Because I was like, this is a man that takes youth. He's a school owner as well. I was like, what are the pastors, the religious leaders that we have these days, what are they passing down to us? For a man of God to condescend to that level, to tell me that if you don't teach them during exam, they will fail. It's so bad. It's so annoying. Now, I would like to direct my next question to Martha. Martha, can you hear me?
Yes, ma, I can.
All
you
right.
hear me, ma?
You are you are the youngest on this program today. And I'm sure you've seen some of your mates in school, even if not at school, on the streets, some that are your friends that you grew up together. You've seen them indulge in one thing or the other. What do you think personally is the cause of all this?
Okay. Thank you very much. I don't know if you can hear me.
I can hear you very well. Daddy, can you hear her?
Yeah, I can hear. There's also a question on the comment box, so
I've seen
you can notice.
it.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir, for the word you've dished out. I've really been blessed. I've even been jotting since. And thank you very much, ma, for the privilege. I do not take it granted.
Okay.
Yes. When Daddy was speaking, I was like, Kai, this is one thing that we need to deal with, because I would like to share a personal experience. When I was in school, like during my SS3, I was telling my math teacher that, "Sir, I know that they want to do my practice in this school, but I will not join them." It was like, I will join. I will not join. But that time I was not deeply rooted, not that strong. So when day 1, day 2, I think day 3, I did not. I was like, no, I'm not collecting any. But day 4, I think they just gathered and they talked to me, and I don't know how. I lost guard and I joined. And it was so painful because I fell for the temptation. So, but after that, I came to understand that most of these people, the fact that you already know that, okay, they are going to give you malpractice in the examination, that means you're not going to read now. What's the essence of putting much effort to read? And I see that it affects when we get to school, when we get to university. You can successfully have malpractice for your WAEC, even for JAM too. But when you get to university, that's when it will tell. Yes, that's when the effect will show in the person's results. And most times you see that most of them, they end up sending them home because they did not meet up to the requirements. And also again, when after I came to school, I had an encounter with Christ and I became born again. Now my faith is strong in Him. So we started written exams in 200 level. I'm currently in 400 level, science education. We started written exams in 200, and that was my first written exam. Prior to the time that we'll have the exam, people already there, Martha, I'll sit down with you. Martha, you tell me question 1, and don't worry, put your book, let me copy. I was like, I was telling them both that I'm not doing it. They think I was joking, that you do it last time. Everybody used to do it. After that, during the exam, I shall see that my friend at the back and the one that sat down beside me, they were calling me. I was like, God, I did not answer them. I even closed my book. They were so pained that to the extent that when they got outside after the exam, they already reported me to most of my friends. I was down. I was frustrated. I was like, God, yeah, but yeah, do that again. They were saying I'm wicked. How can I not tell them the exam or zero limit I want to pass? Something of that. That if I not tell people exam or I'm a very wicked person. Till this time that I'm talking, they still like tempt me with that. So I was so down. I was discouraged. They reported me to all my friends, and I was like, I had to like meet somebody and tell, like a spiritual leader, and tell him. I was like, he had to like give me encouraging words. So that's painted a bad picture of me, and it was as if I said, why can I not just tell them? Even my friends, closest of friends, if I say I love them, why can I not take the exam off? But I was not thinking that what if it's that time that I said tell them? That's when the invigilator will just catch so close to us. I could not just do it. I did not have the mind. So it's not like, what if when like when I just want to tell them, now they did not catch me, and then I stand and I say, hey, you they have stand, I said that you're not anybody. They will laugh at me. That's true. So I can see it first starts with the mindset. Yes, the mindset. Like Daddy have said, it starts from the school. It starts from the background of that child. Yes, as a child, where you grew up from, what you saw from your environment. That's where it starts from. I think that's what I have to.
All right, thank you very much. Daddy, the question that we have here is from Minister Etinosa. Mr. Etinosa, thank you for joining us. Really appreciate. Thank you for your question. And the question goes thus. It says, sir, you said the society also plays a role in grooming rights people. How can the church help in these aspects, knowing the society is secular?
All right, I get that question. But before I address it, let me just say some things to what the previous speaker had just said. Because I feel that there will be a lot of young people who may also face some of the challenges she has shared with us. You see, if you read Proverbs 1:10, it says, my child, if sinners entice you, turn your back on them. If sinners entice you. I didn't want to just read it, the entire scriptures, so I'll just stop there. But essentially, Proverbs 1:10 is saying that you are going to have people who want you to keep company with them in doing wrong. And that is what I found out. People love others to join them in doing wrong. If you refuse, they're going to make you look odd, make you look bad. But the reality is that in their heart, they wish they could be like you. If you knew that, you should actually be proud. You should enjoy it. In fact, it's a privilege. It's an opportunity to demonstrate who you are. In their heart, they regret the fact that they cannot be like you. So that's why they are trying to make you look as if you are nobody, you are nothing. It's a badge of honor that they invited you to sin and you say no, and then they mess you up. They make you feel like you don't know anything. You know, if care is not taken, you go back home sad and think like, why am I odd? Why am I like this? No, you don't. Your life is not subject to the opinions of men. Your life is subject to God. As long as you know that you have pleased God, it does not matter how men make you feel. So take it as a badge of honor that when they entice you, the scripture says no. Tell them that I'm not doing this. You see, when I was 7, something interesting happened. Because we don't know each other before, at least the group I found myself. I found myself in a group of about 5 friends that we just met at the camp, but we became friends. We were moving about. And then usually in the evening, we go to a place to eat, and they will order for food, for drinks. Some will order for, you know, all forms of alcohol drinks. And I remember 2 of us will tell them that we don't drink. Now, the other person, that's me and another person. But this other person said he has just stopped drinking and he doesn't want to drink again. But then after the 3rd day, he gave in and took 1 bottle of beer, saying that he just, after that one, nothing more again. But then he continued till now. Now, as for me, you know, they just believe that at a point I was going to give up. I was also going to join. But to the glory of God, I never joined them. We are still friends with many of them today. They know that I never for once joined them to take alcohol. In fact, for me, I felt proud. I didn't feel odd. I felt proud among them that you guys are drinking, but I'm not drinking. I felt very proud. So a young person should learn to be proud not to sin. You should learn to be not to do what is wrong, even when they make you feel bad or they want to shame you. Now, to the question that Minister Etinosa asked, you see, there are laws in the society, and the Bible also says that we must abide by the laws of the society. So it also means that the society has a responsibility to uphold its own law. The society will not make you holy, but the society has responsibility to provide atmosphere in conformity with the laws of that society that everyone can fit into. For example, the law in our country forbids stealing. We only need to implement that law. We only need to enforce that law. If you are in a place and you are expected to stay on the queue, why not stay on the queue? You know, one of the problems that happened at our filling station when fuel is scarce, it's not really the scarcity of fuel. It is our disorderliness, our lawlessness. If every single person will take their turn, I'm telling you, most people will eventually get fuel, and it's not going to take time. But the problem is when you stay on queue, somebody else who knows the manager comes into another entry. Another person who knows the manager comes to another entry. Before you know it, the whole place becomes jam-packed, the whole place becomes locked. But if you have a law enforcement agent that comes there and says everybody must maintain their queue, the societies that we say are lawful, they are not really godly society. In fact, some of them don't believe in God, but they uphold their law. China is basically an atheist society, but they uphold their law. The penalty for stealing $1,000 in China is death. $1,000 is death. Here, you can steal $1 million. You will get a title. So, what we are saying is that the society has a responsibility to uphold their laws. For even exams, they are not abiding exams. Schools must abide by that law. When school begin to partake in cheating, then the whole essence of education has been defeated. And the genesis of some of these things is because private school is driven by profit. So because private school is driven by profit, they have to show that the children that graduate from their school are always passing their exams. And so they would rather help those children to pass in order to present a scorecard that you see at school here, we do this. The good thing is that I've also worked in a private secondary school before my current job. And I know that they uphold examination standards so much. Even though it's a profit-driven school, they ensure that none of their students engage in examination malpractices. No teacher will be there to whisper, just even whisper or echo anything to their student as their own policy. So once you are in GS1, you already know that once you get to SS3 and you are writing your exam, the school itself is not even going to condone, even if WAEC compromises, the school will not compromise because they have so much invested in their student that it will be just a waste of investment if you have seriously invested in them only to now be whispering answer to them after 6 years. Then what have you been doing? You know, but they have really invested, they have paid teachers' salaries, employed good teachers, bought equipment, and why would they want to waste all of that by teaching them? You know, so that's what we mean. Society just simply needs to uphold laws of the society, and it will make everybody to conform. If there are security agents manning every polling unit, and they are civil at the same time, they are armed, very civil, they don't disturb you. But if you are going to violate electoral law, they are also going to be quick to respond. There won't be anybody coming to pick ballot boxes. So we are not saying the society should make us holy. We are simply saying the society should provide environment conformable to the laws of that society.
All right, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Now, Daddy, what is the way out of all of this? What is the way out? You know, we can see that the principles of almost every youth is lost. It's like there is no hope, but there is hope. What is the way out? What do you think we can do about it generally?
Well, it's part of what you are also doing today. To a program like this, it may look small, but you see, it shows one that there is concern. Because if we don't have concern, then that means we have reached stage 4 cancer. That one is irredeemable. But you see, there is concern. That's what this program shows. But then going back to the root cause, if you want to address an issue, you have to go back to the root cause. I've mentioned the root cause, so let's go back to those root cause again. It starts, number 1, with parenting. Let me tell you something. The Western society in the nearest future will break down terribly. It's not a prophecy. It is going to happen. Any society that fails to raise the next generation, that society is already dead. When I see people envying Western society, I say, you don't know what you are envying. A society that allows for rebellion. A society where the value system is perversion. I saw a video yesterday where toddlers, 3-4-year-old, they were being exposed to gay people, to entertain them, to show them why homosexuality is right. I'm talking of toddlers. A society that has restricted parents to discipline their children. A society that allows a child to exercise every form of foolishness. It's only a matter of time that society will break down. There is a proverb in Yoruba that says that it is the child that you do not train that will sell your house. Now, for us also not to fall a victim of that, it starts with parenting. Let me tell you something. Parenting is a tedious task. It is a serious task. In fact, when I see the way people give birth, I know they don't understand parenting. When you just marry and before you know it, you already have 5 children. I know you are not prepared to parent. At best, you are prepared to pay school fees. And some of our metropolitan societies, like Lagos, for example, where you wake a child up 4 a.m. to get that child ready for school, the parents, they are going to work. By the time the parents return at night, the only thing they can do is to sleep and wake up that way this following day. You see, you may not know that that system can continue for the next 10-20 years. That means that those children, no value has been imputed into them. Parents must come to that consciousness, no matter the society, no matter the job you are doing, because what is the purpose of your job at the end of the day if you are going to spend the rest of your life nursing children that have become wayward? What then is the essence of your job? What then? Why were you earning money if you will not train these children? And training is different from schooling. Many children, they go into marriage today at 0 level. They do not know anything about marriage. Many of our ladies, look at the scenario I just painted. Before you know it, a female child will be 23, 24 in that kind of a house. No training. And we say she wants to get married. She does not even know how to choose. She has feelings for somebody that is lying to her. She believes it is true, it is their new law. She's going to give her heart into it. They are going to throw marriage party. From that day, it will be one marital problem or the other that will either lead to divorce, death, or frustration. Parents must sit down to understand that this period before this child is going to set out, they have responsibility to impute the wisdom of life and the wisdom of God into them. That is parenting. Imputing the wisdom of God and the wisdom of life into a child. That is real parenting. When the proverb that I read, Proverb 1:10, when you read Proverb 1:1, it says that the entire book of Proverbs is a book written by a father for his own child. So you can see how the level to which a father took parenting to write the book of Proverbs for a child. Even when you read Proverbs chapter 30 or 31 later on, you will see that a mother also wrote those words for his own son, advising his son not to spend his money on women. It's a woman who is experienced and committed that can be diligent enough to train his own child. You see, when you read Proverbs, read the context. Don't just read those Proverbs. Read the context. Who is writing it? Who is the person writing it to? That's the duty of parents. Imputing the wisdom of God and the wisdom of life into those children. As they don't, you see, I see parents, they say, go and wash the plates. Go and clean this. But you see, as they are washing the plate and you are in the kitchen with them, that is where you have opportunity to tell them and say, you know, dear, when you have feelings for a man, what should you do? How do you know that this person is going to be a right person for you in marriage? When you engage in this conversation with them daily for years, before you know it, your wisdom will rub on them. So parents have to come to realization that their primary responsibility is to raise the children. You see, I was talking to about a missionary group. People will say they have a call to be a missionary. They will now have 5 children. They will now give those children as house help, house boy. They will now say they are going to do missionary work somewhere. And people will abuse those children, do whatever they like with them. And I charged them. I said, how can God call you to go and build other children at the expense of your own children? Because those people that you say you have missionary call to address their life, they are also somebody's children. But your own children, you have left them. You can see how we fail parenting work, that even a pastor will take ministry so serious that they will neglect their children. That's why you hear some of their children say they don't want to be like their dad. A correct servant of God knows that his first constituency is his family. And his child in particular, it is his own responsibility to raise his own child. In fact, the Bible says, if a man cannot rule over his own house, how shall he rule the church of God? So at family level, we must accept that there is a serious responsibility on our hand. Investment of prayer on those children. I'm not talking of when they want to marry, you now take their picture to Shiloh or take their picture to Redeem Camp and say they must marry. Father, they must marry. That one is foolishness, just a waste of time. When you have 20-something years, 30 years to raise the way of the Lord, you fail to do that, and then you now carry their picture and say they want to marry. Oh God, they want to marry. That's not parenting. You have to sit down and accept that this is a serious responsibility as parents. You got to sit down and do that. So, in a nutshell, for parents, you have to know that by bringing these kids into the world, it's a serious responsibility. God said, why did I make you two? He said, because I seek a godly offspring. If my purpose for making you husband and wife is because I'm seeking godly offspring. I'm not seeking doctors. I'm not seeking engineers, accountants, lawyers, educators. I'm seeking godly offspring. So that means that God has already set your agenda for your child. That as a parent, it is your responsibility to raise a godly offspring. When God comes to ask for that child, because that's what God does. God gives a child to a parent. That child is weak, cannot do anything for himself. So God put that child in care of a parent and say, raise this child for me. When I come, I will come and take my son. I'll come and take my daughter. But the time God comes today, what he only sees are engineers. He sees doctors. he sees lawyers, he sees teachers, he sees bankers, but he cannot find a godly offspring. And what is useful to God is a godly offspring. People have not been divorced because they don't have degree, but they've been divorced because they are not godly. So, parents, that is our responsibility. In fact, once at that parenting level, we can really succeed. We have to 90-something% degree, we have become successful already. Things will begin to change in the society. I'm telling you, if we can begin to get parents to understand this truth more, particularly Christian parents, if we can help them to understand this truth more, this nation called Nigeria will be transformed. Everybody you stealing in one office today was once nursed by a mother. They once saw the breast of a woman. There was a man over their life that called himself a father. What did they impute into them that will make one man to steal 175 billion? What did the parent impute in that person? What will you do with 175 billion? What kind of parenting, under what kind of home did they grow up? Like again, what I share today, that women are going on TikTok, they are going on Instagram, the other half, I can't even mention their names. And all they do is to go and shake their breasts so that men can give them coin or can give them money, and then they can show their full nudity. And they are being recorded and posted online. What did their parents say to them about dignity? What did they say to them about morality? What kind of example do they model? You see, parenting starts with modeling. If you can't model correct life before the children, any other thing you are doing is hypocrisy, because those children are watching you. They know what you are doing. So if parenting starts with being a correct parent, that they can see in you that you are a godly parent, they will emulate you. A child usually will emulate the parent. Then we move on to the issue of the society. Like I've said, we want the society to embrace its own laws. But you see, it is those people that are produced from a parent that goes to become law enforcement in the society. So if parents had failed, how are we going to have law enforcement? But we will continue to play our role by voting, by advocating, by doing everything possible to ensure that at least we have a sane political system where we can begin to implement laws and do things. Then the church, which to me, in my opinion, has largely failed in our society, because when all that people hear from Sunday to Sunday is that it is their turn to rise. I don't know whether they are so I don't know where they are rising to. Is their turn to do this? Is their turn to do this? Is their turn? Let me ask you, who has the church raised that is an example, is a light in the society? The man that everybody is saying, oh, we want to follow him today, he's a Catholic. Every Pentecostal will tell you, Catholics are not Christians. But where are the Christians that the Pentecostal have raised? Where are they in the society? He's a Catholic man that has come to model integrity for us. And that same Catholic, you will despise them, that they are nothing, they are nobody. They don't know the truth. They don't know the scriptures. Oh, we that we know the scriptures, where are the people that we have raised for the society? Because the role of the church is discipleship. Your essence is to raise people to become like Jesus. So imagine if the church is turning out people that are Christ-like every day. Imagine how glorious this society will be. But no, we want to produce millionaires. You know, one of them acknowledged recently, Pastor Sam Adeyemi. He said they've been preaching prosperity for years. Now Nigeria has overtaken India as the capital of poverty in the world. He himself acknowledged that they've not been preaching the gospel, but that they've been preaching prosperity. And you know, most people will not note what he was saying. He himself is acknowledging it, that is what they've been preaching, that they've not been preaching the truth. He said it with his own mouth. Now, so you can see that the church is not even helping. It's not helping. So the church has to return back to its original mandate, which is to disciple people, to raise people to become like Jesus. That is the primary purpose that is expressly revealed in the scripture. It's not our duty to make people a millionaire. When you raise a man whose life is right with God, God will provide for that man. So we need the church to begin to raise people of integrity, people of righteousness. But how can that be when a pastor can divorce his wife and remarry and church continues? When a pastor can be caught in adultery and the following Sunday he comes to church and people are still shouting, Papa, 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 Papa. What then do you expect of the society? How can the society be turned around? So we need to ask God to show mercy on the church and restore us back to the path of truth. I'm telling you, when the church really gets it right, the society will get it right. And then the last part is each person. No matter what happens in your home, in the society, or in the church, you have responsibility also to be what God has called you to be. Somebody was telling me that he's been falling into sin, but that he's not going to a right church, that they don't preach the truth in that church. I said, see, don't blame the church for your sin. They may not be preaching the truth in your church, but you have right to say no. When Joseph said no, when he said no, was there a church there? And notice something that Joseph did. He said, how can I sin and commit, how can I do this great wickedness and sin against God? Not three things about Joseph. Joseph acknowledged that it was wickedness, a sin. And the reason he can't do it is God. You know why this is important? If you are a married woman, for example, you had befriended somebody in the past. That person is now coming to you. You are now chatting. The person is saying, come and visit me in hotel. You are saying, but you know it's not right. That's not the issue. You see, that person does not perceive you to be a Christian because you are saying it's not right. You know, I'm in my period, but you know my husband is around. That is not tenable. The issue is that it is adultery. It is sinful. I can't do it. When you talk like that, people will know you mean business with God. Sometimes the way we say no to sin is not convincing. It's not convicting. So that person does not truly recognize you, that you belong to God. Joseph did not say, well, but I don't know how God will feel about this. Well,
it was God.
Potiphar's wife, you know me too, I have feelings for you. But let's give it some time. Let's check. I don't want to start doing something like this now. I want to be 18. I want to be 18 first. And then I will now check. When you talk like that, they will bring sin to your doorstep. But when you say no, when you say this is a sin, Joseph didn't say, well, I'm in my period. He said this is wickedness, this is a sin, and it is against God. You know, when you are ashamed to tell people that on account of your relationship with God, you cannot do it, it is a sign that you are not truly for God. And the unbeliever can perceive it, and they will continue to bring sin at your doorstep. I can tell you, when a man knows that your stand is for Jesus, they will not bring sin to your place. In fact, they will be saying, you better don't go to that lady. She's Jesus' girl. That one will not even answer you. If they know that when they chat you up, you two, the conversation will not involve God. They will feel comfortable to chat with you. So as an individual, you must recognize that when everybody has failed you, like everything failed Joseph, but he did not fail himself. He stood still. He said, I'm not going to do this. This is sinful. And he suffered for being obedient. God did not immediately reward him. That's what we must learn in the society today, in the church. He suffered for his obedience. You may suffer temporarily, but I can assure you of one thing. God is faithful to vindicate you in the end. As individual, today I speak. People say, oh, I'm speaking. I've published about 7 books, but I tell you, my English, oh God, in fact, you can even still perceive it. My English, you are an English teacher. My English used to be extremely terrible. In fact, they make fun of me for speaking English. But you see, I had a terrible background. I came from a very local background. So what did I do? As I got to the city and I started living on my own, I was watching BBC. I bought A1 in English. That is as a graduate, as a university graduate. I bought different English texts. I continue to study. I continue to listen to native speakers in order to improve my spoken English. And to some extent, I think God has helped me. So what I'm using that to illustrate for you is that don't give up. Don't say, well, that is what society has made you to become. Don't go and be selling your body and say, well, there is nobody that cares about us in this society. No, you yourself now has a responsibility for you to give back to yourself. A Yoruba man said, my parent has given back to me, but I will also give back to myself. You too, by the grace of God, can become born again. Your parents are giving back to you, but you yourself can become born again. You can say to yourself that in my generation, I'm going to be useful to God. I'm going to be useful to the society. You can learn everything that you may not have had privilege to learn when you should learn them. You can improve yourself by the grace of God, and you can take a stand and make a success of your life and become a responsible citizen. When I was in Lagos, if I bought something and they put it in paper wrap, and after eating that thing, I just needed to take the paper and dump it. But did you know that I remember there was a time that I bought something in Alakuko, if you know Lagos.
Yeah.
I couldn't
Yes, I live in Lagos.
Drop it until I got to Oshodi. Not that I can't drop it, but I just said to myself that I won't drop it until I find a waste bin. But I couldn't find a waste bin, so I kept on holding it in my hand. You see, nobody knows this, but I just said to myself that I'm going to be a positive contributor to my society. So if somebody like me is living in the UK, I won't have problem obeying their laws, because I've been trying to at least be law abiding on my own. If I didn't say it, nobody ever knew I did that thing that day. That I held a paper from Alakuko to Oshodi because I couldn't find a proper place to dump it. So I'm only saying that everybody can say to themselves that, see, I'm not going to be a failure. I'm not going to be the person that will carry ballot boxes and be burning it. I'm not going to be that lady that is selling her nudity for money. I'm not going to be that boy that is doing Yahoo. I'm going to be responsible. I'm telling you, when you are ready that way, you will see favor, you will see grace working on your behalf. And there is nothing, there is no height that God cannot take you. So individuals have responsibility to also ensure that they themselves turn right for God, for themselves, for their parents, and for their society.
All right, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Now, Martha, do you have any contribution, or do you have anything that you want to, or any question you want to ask Daddy? Hello, Martha, are you there? All right. In the absence of Martha, it seems the network is quite a little bad. Now, Daddy, you know, we have different age group in the society. In fact, among the youth, the age of youth, I think youthful age starts from the age of 18. And I think it ends at maybe 54 or so. Now, based on the group aging of the youth, how do you think the society can come together? How do you think society can come together and help those youths that are not actually in place, or they are actually demoralized, their principles are demoralized? How do you think you can form, do you think you can form a particular, like, can we group ourselves and help ourselves? You know, for example, now, if you look at the previous election, like I told my husband, I said, if you look at the previous election, the number of people that voted for Peter Obi, that's the Labour Party, you see that they are within the age of 18 to maybe around like 40. Now, the age that voted for Atiku or Tinubu, actually those that were actually supporting Tinubu, they range from the age of maybe around 40 and above, majorly 40 and above. And it has really affected our perception in the society. Is there a way we can like pick someone from the age within the age of 40, 55, 60, and bring them out and educate those that are just coming up? I don't know if you're actually getting me, sir.
Well, you see, first we must ensure that our political system work for everybody. There's a reason why we have government, and there's a reason why our wealth is in the hand of government. So to start with, we must ensure that the governance works for everybody. We must also appreciate that some things will not be done overnight. There is a mind shift in Nigeria, for example. But that mind shift is going to take some time to be complete. The voting pattern itself shows clearly that there is a mind shift.
Yes.
But it will take some time for it to become national. But that should give us hope. That should tell us that something is changing and it is spreading very fast. Like you acknowledge, you see, there are politicians, for example, who are now very old, but they are still in the system. It's only a matter of time before they fade off. Those people who are young people who are advocating for change today, in few years' time, they will be the adults. They will be the old men. And so we will have succeeded in having a new generation with new mindset, with new sense of thinking. So people should appreciate the fact that there is growth. You see, what you should be concerned with is when there is no growth. Once there is growth, there is hope. And it's only a matter of time, it is going to happen. It is going to become overwhelming. They are having such thing in America today. In America today, it's becoming increasingly difficult for Republicans to win election. Because the mind shift of people is becoming like Democrats. It's like people support the value system of Democrats. Homosexuality, abortion, all of those things. More and more people are buying into it. So it's only a matter of time. It will be difficult for Republicans to win any election when the majority are for those kind of values. Thank God in our own country, the shift is more for a positive value, and it is growing. But you see, in order to help quite a lot of young people, the first thing, one of the things we need to do is that we must make governance to work for everybody. Civil society, NGOs can come in, but the bulk of the responsibility is government. Now, the church has a unique role to play in reaching out to those people and in training and in raising them in righteousness. The church has that responsibilities. NGOs, like I said, they can come up, and some are already up and doing, going out after some of these young people, rehabilitating some of them here and there and so on. But we will see a remarkable difference when the society, when governance begins to work for everybody. When everybody is factored into governance decisions, we will begin to see that. Now we are voting more younger people into the system. We are voting people with different orientations into the system. People should not take for granted the fact that we now have people going into the House of Assembly who have a completely different mindset. I'm looking forward to the next house because you are going to have people with different set of thinking, and it's going to improve discussion, which will ultimately improve the laws that we have in our land. So there is hope. Things are going in the right direction. We must not just give up. We must not just hold back. And you see, advocacy can go also a long way like we are doing today. You won't believe it, how words, communication can impact people's knowledge and ultimately their behavior. When people are given the right kind of information, when people are challenged that they can do something for themselves, they can become something better, rather than spend your life taking India hemp at the age of 42. You can do something, you can still do something meaningful or something better with your life. So I feel very strongly that we must ensure that governance work for everybody.
All right, thank you, sir. I think Mata is back online now. Mata, like I said, do you have anything to contribute? Oh, she has gone. All right. I think that is the year we'll be stopping. Daddy, do you have any final thing to tell us, like a word of advice?
All right. Well, let me just speak directly to young people that your parents may have failed you. Your society may have failed you.
Yeah.
Even the church, sadly, may have failed you. But I can assure you of one thing. God will not fail you. And please don't fail yourself. Be committed to be useful to yourself, to your family, to your society, and ultimately to God. This is not motivational talk. This is not somebody psyching you up. It is the reality of life that you ultimately are in charge of your life. In the sense that when everybody else has failed you, you can hold on to God and say, no, by the grace of God, my life will still turn out right. I'm still going to become a responsible citizen, a responsible child of God. I'm going to be a genuinely loving husband. I'm going to be a true father. I'm going to be a responsible citizen in the society. If you are ready for that, you will turn out and become like that. So be encouraged. Don't give up at any point. By God's grace, you will be all that God had created you to be. Thank you. God bless.
Daddy, thank you very much for joining us. We truly, truly appreciate everything that we have really learned a lot. I've learned a lot. As a parent, I'm also a parent. I'm a mom of 3-year-old and a year and a half. And why I'm so concerned is because I do not want my children to grow up in this kind of society. I don't want them to grow up in this kind of society. So that's why I'm so concerned about the youths, the adolescents, and those that are around me. I'm a lover of youth. I'm a lover of adolescents. I love them a lot. And I really appreciate that you actually took out time to be here with us today. Daddy, thank you very much. I pray that the Lord will renew your strength. And I pray that you will remain in Christ till He comes in the mighty name of Jesus. Thank you very much. And to those of you that actually joined us today, God bless you. Martha, thank you for joining us, even though the network was bad. Really appreciate you. Sister Famurayo, if you are saying this, God bless you. And to everyone, Mrs. and Sister Minister Etinosa, thank you for the question. Thank you for your contribution. Really appreciate you. You actually stick with us. You watched from the beginning till the end. God bless you, ma. God bless you so much. Really appreciate. God bless you. And if you later watch this video, you come across it, you can send in your likes, or you can still send in your questions. You will get your replies. Have a blessed and beautiful weekend. God bless you. Thank you very much, sir. Have a blessed day, sir.
All right. God